Fred's Caribbean Bar and Grill and Brewery with Fred Tillman and his beautiful wife Sheila. And they were, when I came to Fred and I says, I would like to go green, can I work with your restaurant? And he kind of looked at me and said, of course. Now we are in the process and we're finding that it's an interesting process. And I'm going to talk to Fred and Sheila about why they let me do this. Why did you let me do this?
Well, living in Key West, an eco-sensitive area, we're aware of it. Practicing it's a little bit harder than just being aware of it. So with your inspiration, it's pushing us forward to do that.
Now, we have, so far we've got us a little mission statement, and you didn't like my first one, so I kind of changed some letters around. I'll have to email it to you. And so we have our mission statement, and we have our goals set, and our vision is there. We have run into some issues with recycling, and that's been an interesting process, and it's kind of been upsetting for me finding that Key West isn't that easy to recycle. And I know that you've got some ideas about what we could do so that we can still do the recycling even though the waste management here in Key West hasn't been that helpful.
Well, one of our thoughts was that if we held recycling here and then shipped it out by barge where it could be sold, processing it here, because the cost of shipping it to Miami, where the only recycling plants are, costs as much as it does to take shiploads all the way to China or whoever, India, wherever they could use this as a recycling material. That was just one of our basic
Right.
thoughts.
Now you've already got some things going. I know we put in some low-flow toilets.
Yes.
And you're working on your solar.
We're working on solar. We've substituted a lot of CF bulbs for the normal incandescents, which is coming in real handy for heat and for energy. We are the low-flow toilets were a big deal, and we revamped the way that we run most of our lighting and energy for the kitchen and stuff like that too.
Now I was really interested in what you decided to do with your hot water heater, your solar system. Explain about what you're doing, because I think it's kind of unique.
The hot water heater, what we're doing is we're using solar, but we're using just a large stainless tank instead of the standard commercial tank, which is propane. It cycles and keeps it warm all the time, and we're going to save up the day's energy to use at night, which is most of our use is. But then we have a propane commercial on demand that'll pick it up in line, and whatever we need extra and additional will do that. And then we'll wait till the next morning, because we don't open till usually 1 o'clock as far as our business goes. So we'll have we'll get a lot of hot water out of that, we think.
Now you also talked about doing something with the ice water from the ice machine, because it gets warm here during the summertime. You've got to use a lot of your ice melts,
It
right?
does, it melts. And what we're doing is the mister fans that you normally see that are around towns that are run off of your normal pressurized water, we're going to install a tank in our cooler so that this ice cold water, the water is pure and it's cold, we're going to put it in there, pressurize the systems ourselves, and we're hoping to get, because it's normally 10 degrees, we feel we're putting out 30, 40 degree water, it'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 degree reduction in
And
it.
so you're really recycling that water into your misters.
Exactly.
So that your
Right.
people can enjoy that.
Right.
Now, you've also put in a new washing machine.
We put an energy efficient washing machine, and it uses 1.5 gallons per cycle versus the older ones that were 5 and 6 gallons.
Boy, I'm going to have to do the numbers on that. I did do some calculations for how much you saved with your low-flow urinal and toilets. So that adds up to thousands of dollars actually.
We think so. Yeah, we think it will, really.
A year.
Yeah.
Now, one thing we looked at was changing our, well, you use mostly glass plates and cloth napkins for dinner. You do use the paper napkins for lunch, right?
Yes.
Correct. And Sheila also does a lot of banquets and weddings.
Yeah, a lot of events.
Yes, a lot of events. So we want to be also eco-friendly with our events, right?
Yes, we do.
And I did do some pricing, and it does cost almost twice as much for the fossil fuel plastic than it does for the corn or the sugar cane. But what do you think? Do you think it's worth it to do it?
I think we looked at it and we talked about it, and we think that the amount that we use for the takeout and things like that, that it's not that great a cost in the overall picture of things for the year, that we can definitely give an attempt to do that, because
Right.
we're not a big takeout place, so it doesn't affect us as much as it would be a fast food restaurant or something like that. So we think that we'll give it a shot. Yeah.
Okay. One thing I want us to look at was also straws, because you do use a lot of straws.
A lot of
Yeah.
And one thing I was thinking on the way over here is that maybe, because I don't like to use a straw, so maybe the waitress or waiter would ask, do you want a straw? And maybe that would save the usage a little bit. I don't know. I'm just thinking, in this process, you just have thoughts,
Well, one of the things that we talked about, Sheila brought up, is that most people don't drink water through a straw. And, and our waiters are trained now to put straws in everything that goes out to the table.
Right.
But in fact, since you're talking about 400 waters, probably more than that, at nighttime alone, there's 400 waters approximately for half hour. So, but that's a lot of savings in straws, but people don't even need it because
No, 'cause they
they don't even think about it. Water's not normally a straw
Right.
item, so it's something we're thinking
I
about.
think one thing that in this process that I have learned is that it's all about education and educating your staff. That's a big process. I know that we wanted to start out with energy conservation, water conservation, pollution conservation, and I put education down as the very last. And actually, that should kind of be the first in the process, is educating your staff. So will we be doing that some, do you
Well,
think?
I think so, because the same way that you've educated us, then we're able to in turn assimilate that. Then it's the same way that we've gone from plates to plastic during our happy hour. And it's because we just use one little sheet of a paper that goes in instead of doing like a deli paper, instead of going through a whole wash process with the plates and all the things that it entailed. And when you started adding all the things that go into this whole procedure that we did, that one little step saves us enough to keep our prices stabilized and to be, eco-friendly.
Okay. Now, you're also a boat captain, Fred, and you've sailed around the world, and you realize the importance of keeping the ocean clean, and that's what this is all about,
I
right?
think that if we are not careful, one of our major food sources will disappear. And we've seen it happen in areas down here, actually, where they've overfished, and they call it overfish, but I think it's a cross between overfishing and not populating. That is causing a huge problem. And I think we're in the third world all overfishing now, and I think that'll evaporate. We import fish all the time from Ecuador. You see it coming from Ecuador, Chile, the South American countries, because there's not a large population, but we consume an enormous amount. It's amazing.
Now, you do serve a lot of seafood, but you do utilize the local.
We try to utilize everything local that we possibly can. There are times of the year when we feel that during migratory and mating seasons, like for the dolphins and stuff like that, and that's mahi-mahi, not the other dolphin.
Right.
It's to keep the populations up. We do import during certain times of the year, and it helps, I think, them regenerate and grow larger, because otherwise you're taking in very, very small dolphin. And if you use all the small dolphin, they'll never have a chance to go through the mating cycle. So that's just
Exactly.
one of our thoughts on that.
Well, I know that we've just started the process, and we've got a long ways to go. And I appreciate you sitting down with me today and helping me with my thesis.
Thank
We're
you very much
excited.
for helping us.
So,